today is the final date of the death of Hezekiah and the beginning of the reign of Manasseh. Now, in order to understand that, we'll have to give you some background. So let's go back to Genesis 1:1. No, well, not quite that far. You know, everything starts in Genesis, of course, but we'll try to assume that you already have read Genesis so that you already know, and we'll move on from there. Let's start with the death of Solomon and the breach between Israel and Judah, the civil war. It started in 931 BC. That's when Solomon died. And when he died, the kingdom split, where the house of Israel revolted against the house of David and Judah over the issue of high taxes without representation. Okay? You already you smell a repeat already in our time? Okay. But that was the original breach. And this breach has been, God has been working on this breach to repair the breach for a long time. And we know that Christ himself is the ultimate repairer of the breach. He's the only one who could. Because when Judah split from Israel, the tribes of Joseph went with Israel, and Judah went with Judah, with the house of David, and that created a breach between the king and the kingdom, or the king and the scepter and the birthright. These were split, and it ensured that Christ was going to have to come twice. The first time to come of Judah, of the house of David, to claim his throne rights, and the second time to come with his robe dipped in blood as Joseph in order to claim his birthright. So there's two different purposes in the comings of Christ. And we have to understand that, otherwise we'll never understand the real purpose of Christ's second coming. And all you'll be left with is he's coming to save the day, like Mighty Mouse, because we're about to all get slaughtered, okay? And that's about the extent that the church has been taught on that subject. But it's a whole lot bigger than this. It's to repair the breach, because when he comes twice as the same person but in a different capacity, he ends up with both and reunites these two under one head. And that repairs the breach. We've been seeing this for thousands of years, but this is a big plan. This is a long-term plan. We're at the other end of it, and we are privileged to see this plan coming together finally in the course of history. But the first thing that happened in this breach between Israel and Judah, which started in 931, was a period of time that was 210 years long. After 210 years, you come to 721 BC, which is when the house of Israel, or Samaria, the capital, was destroyed, and the Israelites were taken into captivity. Then they tried to come and take Judah also, but there is where they failed, because there was a parallel time going on here. And if you read the story of Hezekiah in the book of 2 Kings 18 and 19, you'll find that this story, actually 19 and 20 really, in the story of Hezekiah, it's a long story and we could spend the whole time on that, but I would rather just skip it over and make you read your own homework here, because I don't have time to correct papers. In this story, you will see two main stories that go together, and that is, we find in chapter 19 that the house of Judah and Jerusalem is being sieged by the king of Assyria. And King Hezekiah is the king in Jerusalem, and Isaiah is the prophet there in Jerusalem, and Hezekiah makes the appeal. because Hezekiah, it looks like this is the end. It's a classic cartoon. It looks like this is the end. But, and if it were the end, Hezekiah was sure to be killed. He was of the lineage of David that was to lead to the Messiah. And what would happen then to all the promises of God about the Messiah?